Greetings, Joe here. I just wanted to do a quick note here at the beginning. I hurt my back, so I was in the process of doing a video for another game, which I hope which was going to be for Wednesday and was now probably likely going to be pushed back to Friday at the best. So I'm going to, actually, this video that you're about to watch was originally slated for Sunday because it's a Solitaire Sunday game. And so I may reference that. I don't remember if I referenced that or not in the video I did a few days ago. But I'm going to post that now just so I have some new content for you guys. So I have a bad back. I tweak it occasionally. It's bugging me right now. So standing over a table doing a video, not happening tonight. So we will hopefully get back on schedule on Friday. There will be something on Sunday that will not be Solitaire Sunday for this week because this video was for Sunday and it's not going to be on Sunday. It's going to be on Wednesday now. But the follow-on videos for this game will be on Sundays after this next one. This next one I'll have something not Solitaire Sunday. Hopefully next War Iran, because that was the next thing I wanted to kind of take on. But we'll see. We'll see how I do. In the meantime, here it is. First look at Purple Haze. Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing a first look at our next Solitaire Sunday game. This is Purple Haze. It is from Phalanx Games and is designed by Bernard Grabowski. And we're going to probably do a significant chunk of the main campaign because this game does have 5 expansions. I have 4 of them. There was some issues with printing up the end game expansion, I think, in terms of delivering that to all of the people who purchased this. I've had it for a little bit, but I haven't ever done anything with it. And I do want to obviously get it played because I think this is a good one for Solitaire Sunday. Now you can play this co-op as well as Solitaire. It supports up to 4 players. And as you might guess from looking at it, or I'm sure you may have heard of it as well, this is a game about Vietnam. So we're going to flip her over here. And we have here on the back, you can see it says, live through gut-wrenching decisions and fight an unyielding enemy, feel the burden of command, and survive the jungles of Vietnam. So you'll be leading a squad of Marines through the dense jungles, flooded rice paddies, and straw-thatched and bamboo villages of this verdant but war-ravaged country. Consequences of your choices will determine the fate of you and your mission, showing if you have what it takes to survive. So this is not just like a typical war game. This is an immersive story creation, cooperative game for 1 to 4 players that drops you into the heart of darkness, Vietnam, 1967. It is also in part a tactical combat game and in part a campaign game. So your decisions determine the story. Your tactics decide the outcome of life and death firefights. Your men will suffer. Some won't make it home. Those that do will get wiser, get tougher. The goal, complete the mission, get out alive. Here are our components: 2 map boards, 1 combat board, 1 tracker board, 295 markers, 63 poker-sized cards, 88 tarot-sized cards, 34 6-sided dice, 2 custom 6-sided dice, 24 wooden cubes, a rule book, a Marine's handbook, 5 player aids, 9 mission booklets, 1 logbook, 1 pencil, and a plastic zip bag, or plastic zip bags, I should say. You can see game time can run 90 to 720 minutes. It's 1 to 4 players and ages 18 and up. So that is the base game. As I mentioned, I have 4 of the expansions, so I'll just show you those. We won't probably play these as part of the initial campaign. We have Born to Kill. This one is more of a Hollywood style. It's 4 brand new missions and expansion, as you can see. Capture a heavily fortified hill, track down a wayward Marine officer, and engage in 4 wildly different missions inspired by some of the most popular Vietnam Hollywood movies. So that's what that one is. Then there is Tunnel Rats, which I also picked up. This one, as you might guess, you go into the Vietnam tunnels as a tunnel rat, and then there are 2 Force Recon ones that I also picked up here. Stingray and Keyhole. So this would let you play as Force Recon, which is basically insertion deep into enemy territory, and you would lead a heavily armed Marine Force Recon team on Stingray patrols, and in this one, obviously, Keyhole patrols. Okay, here we go. Open up the box. Yeah. All right. I have our rule book, somewhat hefty rule book here, of 63 pages. A lot of this is, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but a decent amount of this appears to be glossary, 5 pages of glossary. So that's good. You have a lot of terms that are explained. So here you have individual mission books. There's a lot in this box. As you can tell from the box itself, it is fairly wide. I mean, that's pretty wide. It is a square box, but it is particularly wide. So let's look at the rule book. 63 pages thereof. Okay, so we have our credits. I won't read all of this, but here's our contents. So you have your components, learn how to learn the game, setup, tests and traits, action round, combat, end of mission, and then your design notes and glossary, and the easily forgotten rules are on the back. Yeah, on the back right there. All right, so here are our components. There are a lot of them, as you can see. You got cards, of course. Here are maps and boards. So you have your game board, double-sided, map of northern and southern area of operations, game board for the map of Quang Long City, tracker board, double-sided combat board. Then you've got markers, 12 double-sided marine activation markers, combat markers, enemy markers, tactics, tank, sapper, soft cover, double-sided hidden enemy reminders, initiative, double-sided smoke, double-sided artillery and airstrike markers, 4 no-aimed shot markers, hard cover markers, and you got functional markers down here, squad and convoy, base, double-sided event, special event, landing zone markers, 1 X-ray, 1 Yankee, 4 LZ, 4 EAZ markers, 1 point man, reminder / forbidden markers, double-sided stress markers, double-sided damage markers, double-sided boon markers, double-sided experience markers, 6 ID markers, time marker for minutes, hours, threat marker, stamina, double-sided walking wounded POW, double-sided littered KIA, and 24 cubes of red coloring. And we have 2 threat dice, 12 strike dice, 6 focus dice, and they're all colored, as you can see, gray, purple. Yellow is crit, critical hits, I'm assuming, and the red ones are hit point dice. Gear markers, flak jackets, radios, flamethrower, first aid, extra rations, automatic fire ammo, M72 grenade launcher ammo, machine gun ammo, smoke grenades, frag grenades, and machine gun attachment. Cards include claymore, weapons, boon, conditions, lucky charm, wounds, 30 marine profile cards, a 12 double-sided specialization cards and a fire support card, and 45 encounter cards. Then we've got this game found exclusive squad marker and all of this stuff in here, the rule book, the Marine handbook, all that other stuff we saw in the back of the box. Learning the game, you read the quick start guide to get an overall feel, then read the rule book, then complete the Cherry boot camp. If you're playing multiplayer, then only one person needs to read the rule book. The other players can just read the quick start guide and learn as they go. At the back of the rule book is a glossary of all the key terms, which we already saw. It's not a complicated game, but there's a lot going on, and it is as it is a sandbox style of game, you will undoubtedly come across rules ambiguities or forget certain things. If this is the case, don't panic. Getting a rule wrong or missing something will not break the game. Just put it down to the fog of war. So a little flexibility. Books and guides, the rule book, mission booklets, Marine handbook, logbook, and player aids. How to use the mission books. We'll look at the mission books here in a moment. How to use the logbook. Core concepts. It's a campaign game of 9 interlinked missions. At the start of the campaign, in the Mission 1 booklet, you will read a piece of introductory text on the squad leader's experience in NAM to date. Based on that, you will be asked to select one of 3 possible motivations for your squad leader. The chosen motivation will persist the entire campaign, even if the squad leader with whom you started the campaign is lost. So that's an important note. That's why it's in bold. Squad level can be played solitaire or as a co-op multiplayer game with players taking responsibility for 1 or more Marines each. Tests and traits. Throughout the game, your Marines will be required to make tests, both to resolve certain encounters and events and to determine the outcome of combat. So that's kind of RPG style. The tests all work the same, matching on the same matching dice basis. You're tested on 1 of 5 traits each Marine has: charisma, intelligence, willpower, survivability, and perception. For combat, you'll be testing on the weapon used, range, and line of sight. Objectives, you'll be given a primary and secondary objectives to complete in each mission. Each objective, or additional objectives, may be added mid-mission by events. Whether you succeed or fail at these objectives will determine in large part the amount of experience your squad generates from the mission. You've got movement, events, and encounters, time, stamina, and threat, combat, damage and stress, experience and boon, iconography. So this is a narrative-heavy game, and as a consequence, contains a lot of text. To try and reduce the amount of text to be read, the game employs iconography. On Player Aid 1, there's a key to these icons. It is worth familiarizing yourself with it to make your gameplay experience smoother. Setup. So you have game setup and then mission setup. We'll probably walk through this in the next video, would be my guess. Then you've got squad setup. And again, I'll probably go through this in the next video. Then, excuse me, your first mission, assigning specializations and motivation. And we have reassembling the squad, equipping the squad. Here is our layout. So this is what your board layout or your game layout will look like when we're playing. So this is what you can expect to see when when I'm actually playing the game here for this playthrough. We'll see how far we get, how much interest there is. Solitaire Sunday, of course, is designed to be a serial type of thing where, we play a little bit at a time over, multiple weeks. Once per week, you'll get a video that'll show the next step in the game. It worked pretty well with the U-boat stuff I did when I first started it, and it's kind of gone on from there. And I figured this one would be next, and I'm probably going to do something air-based, but I'm digressing. So back to the matter at hand. These are your Marines along the bottom here. Of course, this is your area map, and this is your combat map. And you've got cards and all your dice and markers and so on spread around the outside. Weapon choice, gear choice. So there's a lot of depth in this. You've got ammo, grenades, radio set, extra rations, your flak jacket, attachments for your machine guns, for your M60. Then you've got a first aid kit, swapping and discarding equipment so you can swap out and discard things. You can assign your point man, which you'll need to do, right? Then you've got tests and traits, trait test, combat test. Here's how you take your tests during the game. Here's how success is achieved. Again, we'll go through all of this when we're doing gameplay. I just want to walk through it real quick. Difficulty levels. So you have in trait test with a set difficulty level, the number of successes must be equal to or greater than the diff to succeed. The diff will vary between events and encounters. If a Marine passes a diff 3 plus test, he gains 1 experience immediately. So that's good. In combat tests, there is no success or failure. The number of successes equals the number of hits scored. Here are our traits. You can see the iconography for the traits. You have our gear here. Then you have your action round with your squad actions, three of those. You take one of your choice per round: march, bivouac, and evac. Here's time, hours, day and night, and minutes on the 1, 2, 3 chart here on the time track. Then we have nighttime stuff. You have stamina, of course. Makes sense. Forced march, pushing beyond 0 SPs. Threats, tracking threats, the threat die. Bases, EAZs, and threat. So an EAZ is enemy activity zone. Spaces where the enemy is known or thought to be active. They are added at mission setup and added or removed throughout the course of the mission by events and encounters. They do not remain on the map between missions. And they have the following effects. Adjacent to, if the squad marches into a space adjacent to an EAZ or takes a bivouac or evac action in a space adjacent to an EAZ, it generates +1 threat after applying the threat die roll. If you're in the box with them, in the space with them, you generate +2, and they also have an impact on certain encounters. Squad action march, it explains that, your map and terrain. You've got iconography for the various terrain you go through: urban, paddy, jungle, hilly, and mountainous. Changing your point man is the bivouac, where you can recover SPs, attempt to remove damage through first aid. You can determine how long you wish to do it, update the threat track, apply first aid, recover SPs, determine time spent, update threat, recover, night, first aid, etc. Squad action evac, which is an evacuation by helicopter to the base. You can only take this squad action in the following situations. You have a KIA marker, or one or more members of the squad with 2 cubes on the wound track, or with a critical wound card, or you wish to end the mission early, or you are instructed to do so by an event. So you have to move to an LZ, and then you'll get evacuated. Moving to or creating an LZ, resolving the evac. Then you have events and encounters, random marine choice, damage and stress, lucky charm cards. Here's our combat rules. So here's your combat board markers. You've got combat and tactic markers, marine activations, fighters, and specialists. These are enemies. And you can see different types. There's elite, RPD, sniper, and leader. Combat setup. Go through everything here, where you're placing your enemy tactics. You can see here an example. We have Marines down here with their markers and the enemies up here. Claymore. So combat resolution, you resolve your mines, you determine initiative, then you have actions, activation and resolve orders, move initiative, marker, flip, activation. So here you walk through each of those steps. Again, we'll go through all of this in detail when we play the game. I'm just trying to go through the basics here. You can see there's a lot of detail to the combat, as it covers multiple pages here. And there are things like fire support from artillery and airstrikes, checking for the enemy's retreat, popping smoke, critical hits, etc. And then actions: if the enemy has the initiative, you apply the enemy tactic counter, or tactic marker, sorry. Draw and resolve a combat marker. So this is the enemy side here. Then you've got check for the end of combat, continue the mission. Damage and stress, of course, important. Combat is going to apply both of those things. Wounds and conditions, your KIA card if you do lose a man. Hospitalization, walking wounded, littered, and KIA. Here's more KIA stuff. Conditions, you've got mild, moderate, severe, and very severe. And then you've got end of mission. We also have breakdown over here. Okay, if he adds a 3rd cube to the condition track, he suffers a breakdown. If the Marine has a breakdown, he continues the current mission but is removed from the campaign at the end of the mission. There are no consequences for the rest of the squad. So you go through here's the 3 ways the mission can end. You meet an end of mission trigger as set out in the rules or event text. You return to base or evac before meeting the end of mission trigger. 3 or more of your Marines in the squad are removed from the game by evac or KIA. Then you have the actions you'll take after that. Gain experience. Resolve your R&R. We've got some boon cards here. Optional rules for hidden enemies. High-low threat, sapper mode, and then house rules. So it does say it's a very easy game to house rule. As noted in the design notes, the rules as written are what the design team feel to be the most realistic and balanced, but the game won't break if you tweak the rules to create the game you want to play. Post them on Board Game Geek if you think they work well so others can also use them. Very nice. Then we've got our design notes from the design team. A couple pages of that. Well, then next we know we have the glossary because we already saw that, right? Glossary with notes on all of the, or not all of, but many of the terms. And then at the end, easily forgotten rules, setup for radio set, combat, some rules for combat, some rules for KIA and evac, wounds, nighttime, and squad actions. So that is the rules. Now we'll look at the campaigns here. Got a whole bunch of these. Here's our Marines Handbook. Okay, it comprises the Quick Start Guide, the Cherry Boot Camp, and background resources. Then we have our mission books, right? Crash, Patrol. There are 9 of them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't want to ruin the suspense. I won't tell you what all the missions are. I haven't even looked at them myself. Here's our log book, right? I would assume you can probably photocopy this for multiple playthroughs. And here are the maps. This is Kwanglong City, as you can see, single-sided, of course. And we have our tracker. So we have our time, right? There's daytime, nighttime, and the minutes. And then some tracks as well that we'll look at when we play. Here's the iconography player aid. So you can see Marines, enemy, combat, right? It goes through all the various icons that you'll see to cut down on the text, as it mentioned. On the flip side, we have the enemy markers guide, combat markers, specialist markers, and enemy tactic markers. And here we have squad actions. Action round, taking tests, adding remove threats. So all of these will save you from having to look things up in the rule book because it's all pretty well explained here, but it also does tell you where it is in the rules. Then you've got squad actions kind of in a flowchart format, which is pretty cool. For March, Bivouac, and Evac, the 3 actions you can take for squad actions. Here's combat resolution, combat dice calculation, your combat resolution, kind of the sequence here. Then our orders, different orders, and what you can do, right? On the other side, you again have kind of a flow chart for the Marine activation at the top and the enemy activation at the bottom. And we have end of mission, right? You got your boon cards over here. You got experience. And then on the back, you've got R&R phase at the base. And then you have R&R at the town. The different things that can happen. As you can see, some of these are, there's a reason why this is a game for 18 and up. Again, you've got stuff for R&R if you're in Da Nang. And then we have our counter sheets. So here is a look at some of the counters from the game. You can see they're generally pretty nice. They feel nice. They have a nice linen finish to them. Very nice. Little helicopters there at the bottom. And we have these guys right here. These are more in the card size, but they are not technically cards, I guess. Smoke grenades, frag grenades on the other side. They have 2 sides, as you can see. A 1 on one side and a 2 on the other side. More markers. I remember from looking that these indicate soft cover. We got other things here. I think these, you can note that they have die faces on them. And we have some enemy markers here as well as some of the equipment. You've got ammo here, extra rations, artillery, mortar, grenades, flanking, all kinds of cool stuff in here. Now these are hardcover, if I remember correctly. Got your landing zones. Some numerical trackers here, some enemy markers. This is for evac, I think, being littered. You can see there's a lot here, line of sight. You can pop this out and use it as kind of a ruler. It's one long piece here. It's a nice touch. And then you've got the flip side, which just says LZ on that side. On this side, you can see you've got an X-ray and a Yankee, but on this side, it just says LZ. Then we have our area map, which is kind of nice. This is all hard, by the way, too, right? It's mounted, but there's no fold to it. You can see there is the southern area. This is the southern area of operations. This is the northern area of operations. Right, and we have our battle board, which is also double-sided, as you can see. This one appears to be more, well, it's different terrain. You can tell that by looking at it. This is definitely jungle, and this has some buildings, perhaps, or so maybe this is like in a village, perhaps. Then we have our cards. Right, several decks of cards. These are regular poker-sized cards. Then we have these kind of oversized ones. Fire support card. Here we have Mission 1 obstacles. And we have some cubes here with the silica pack, but here are the cubes themselves. A whole bunch of dice in various colors. These are our threat dice right here, as you can see. And some baggies and a pencil. So that is the contents of the box, and this has gotten pretty long, so I'm going to shut it down right now. There will be a setup, but this is going to be our first mission, which is Crash. You can see you've got a downed Huey here and some Marines around it, so this will be our first mission, which will take place in the next video for this game, which should appear a week from today, barring unforeseen circumstances, as we work our way through the base game of Purple Haze. And then depending on, what I've got going on, whether or not you guys are all into this or ambivalent, hopefully the former, not the latter, we'll look into doing some of the expansions, perhaps. And I hope someday I'll have Endgame, which is the one that I am missing. So that is going to do it for this one. I thank you for watching. So wait on, hopefully you'll be anticipating the playthrough for this game, which, as I said, will come in a week. But yeah, that's it for now. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you are a subscriber, I do thank you for watching. Your support, I do thank you for subscribing. Sorry. Your support is always greatly appreciated, no matter how you provide that support, even if you're just watching. So hopefully you'll come back and check something out in the future, even if it's not this. There is plenty of other things, as I trip over my tongue. Plenty of other things going on here at Hexed Encountered. So until next time, I'm Joe, and this is the Hexed Encountered channel. I'm really on it today, gotta tell you. All right, until next time, happy gaming.